going to talk once more to Leanne Pilkington from BreastFeed WA. BreastScreen WA. Oh, this is starting well. And I'm getting an error message. It's gone. We're at the World Indigenous Cancer Conference, and you presented yesterday on your role. Would you be able to tell me about what you do, and also to describe, if you can without the visuals, the area you do it in?
Well, I'm the Aboriginal Program Officer at BreastScreen WA, and it's my job to engage with Aboriginal women around the state and just raise their awareness and give them information about breast cancer, breast screening and breast awareness. So I cover the whole state. I'm based in Perth, which is the capital city of WA, and I cover the whole state. And I really don't know exactly how big WA is, but it covers about a third of Australia. So
I think you put various countries from Europe slam bang in the middle, including Texas at some point.
Yeah, there was Texas, Germany, there was France.
You get to about 100 towns every 2 years.
We do.
Not a bad stretch, but it's just the tip of the iceberg, really, isn't it?
Well, yes. When we go to, especially the remote towns, some of the Aboriginal women from the Aboriginal communities have to come in, and in some of the areas, like Laverton, we go to Laverton every 2 years, and we bring women in, Aboriginal women in from the Nanajara lands, and that some of their journey is about 600 k's for one way.
So does that discourage them from doing screening?
I don't think so. Maybe initially when they weren't sure about it, but now a lot of them see it as women's business, and it's looking after yourself, and it's time for them. They camp out, and it's a time for the women from the area to gather without it being sorry time, or without it being formal sort of women's business. It's a time for a laugh, and it's looking after themselves, and they see it as that now, I think.
And you said yesterday that you had put a few rules in, though. Tell me the rules.
So, there's no dogs, no husbands, no kids.
Yeah.
Because often they see, maybe some of them want to bring their grandkids if they're looking after them. One lady wanted to bring her dogs as well, so we just have to make those rules. So now they do see it. It's women's business. It's time for me. It's time for us to look after ourselves.
Now, you said you're actually getting good results. How do you measure that? What's working in terms of how the numbers have gone up? And this is since you've had your big bus to take around, yeah?
Well, we've been doing, we've got 4 mobile units that go around Western Australia, around the rural and remote areas. And what we've found, well, the participation rate's gone up. In 2001, 2002, I think it was something like 29%, and it's gone up to 45% within our target group. So I think that's an indication that it really has worked. The strategies that we use do work. Not to say they're perfect, and there's always room for improvement, but we're on the right track.
What are your strategies? What do you do to make it work?
Well, we've got an Aboriginal Program Officer, that's myself. We've got an Aboriginal Women's Reference Group, which is made up from Aboriginal women around the state, different areas, and they're our guiding force, I guess. They guide us in matters of strategy, what strategies work in their area. They guide us in resource development, making sure it's culturally appropriate for all areas. WA has got about 100 different Aboriginal language groups, so it's important that we don't just say everything's the same. So we need to make sure that what's culturally appropriate in one area is also culturally appropriate in other areas. So we liaise a lot with them when it comes to new resources or upgrading or reviewing old resources.
When you say that they assist you with strategies that will work in some areas and not others, what's an example of something that you put in place that really did work at the local level?
Well, I'm just trying to think, because there's quite a few that we have done, but with the bus we do block bookings. So instead of expecting women just to come in by themselves, we provide transport in remote areas. And then when they come in, if they need to, we put up accommodation. Or we do things like I've said that, but things like we'll give them a feed, make sure they've got refreshments, make sure they've got somewhere comfortable to wait. You know, you can imagine if they come in 300 Ks, they're going to want a cup of tea, they're going to want a feed, and they're going to want to relax a bit. So we make sure that we've got space for that.
You said it also worked in Geraldton, I think, where you park the mobile unit at Grounds, which is the original
AMS, yeah. And we've done that at Derby Aboriginal Health Service. We've done it at Derby Yerrigan Health Service, which is the AMS in Perth. And we've also done it just recently in Grounds. And the numbers have increased in each of those areas that we have parked in. And it's really important to have the people on the ground that are proactive, that, you know, go out and tell the women all about that it's time to come in for your mammogram and we can bring you in transport. And the areas that we have the best participation is the areas that we have health workers like that.
What are the biggest barriers then for you that you have to try and surmount now?
Language is often a big barrier, but when you've got the health workers that live and work in the community, they can overcome that. A lot of them speak their own language anyway. I think maybe still a bit of fear. I feel a bit of shame. You know, they don't want other women to touch their breasts. Maybe they're scared of the mammogram, having the mammogram itself, or what the mammogram might find. So that's it. Other things are time. There's also cultural issues. If there's other things going on in the community, you know, other priorities, then, you know, women are reluctant to have a mammogram because it is for well women. And if they don't feel sick, they don't see the need often of something that they can put to one side, and, you know, we can do it later. Yeah.
You said even things like bitumen too is a problem because you can't go off road and all that.
Yeah.
And roads are closed for
cultural reasons. Yeah. Sometimes the roads are closed. Yes. And there's limitations to where we can take the machine in the mobile units. So yeah, we have to consider those things when we go to areas. Yeah.
One thing you said, and I have to just consult my notes without knocking this off completely, you said providing access is not engagement. You kept stressing that. What did you mean by that?
Because a lot of people say, well, we've got the service here. The service is here. And that's great. Having a service in remote rural areas, that's fantastic. But you have to be able to engage the women to use the service. And that can often be a big challenge. You know, and it takes time, and engagement, real engagement with Aboriginal women doesn't happen like that. It's you've got to build up that relationship, because unless you truly engage, no matter what access you're giving them, it's not going to be successful.
Yeah. Tell me yourself, what's your story? What got you involved at BreastScreen WA?
Well,
not breastfeed.
Not breastfeed. Well, I did breastfeed, but that's neither here nor there. My husband came down to do his masters, and I was looking for a permanent job. And his supervisor said there's this one going at BreastScreen, so I put in for it, not really knowing a lot about it. But then I realised it was karma, because 5 members of my family have been affected by breast cancer, and it just seemed to me that this was, it was meant to be. And I'm very passionate about my job. I love my job. I've been there 11 years and I still love my job. How many people can say that? You know?
May I ask, had you screened before?
No, I wasn't old enough before, so I was all right. But I started working in November, and in December I had my first screen. So, you know, I sort of practiced what I preached, and one of the older ladies did actually challenge me on that. She did say, how can you tell me to have a mammogram when I'm scared it's going to hurt? How can you tell me it doesn't hurt if you haven't had one? And I said, I've had one.
We're really in the way now. I had one more question, which was that some don't like their breasts to be touched. Apparently you've got a strategy for that. You invite people...
I have. I've got a couple of breast models that have got lumps in them, and often to break the ice, I say, feel free to come up and touch my breasts. But I do mean the models. I do mean the breast. Oh, I'm holding it like that. But I do mean the breast models. So yeah, the humour breaks the ice often. So yeah.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
It was a great presentation.
Thank you.